We have Pablo Escobarner on here, the general of the Auburn basketball Twitter army, or at least one of them. We wanted to bring him on just to talk about the insanity of Twitter in Auburn right now. Can you bring us a little like context into like what's going on? Like tell the listeners maybe that aren't on Twitter what's happening.
So a couple years ago, so Gregory Boyd is the Twitter account. I mean, all these Twitter accounts I'll reference, I'll jack up because I didn't write them down. But Harry Azarak or whatever is his display name. But he had posted a video once we had beat somebody once. It was the Bruce with the Zombie Nation and all that kind of stuff. And it was just one of those things where you like saw it and was like, oh man, like this would be something. It was definitely the inspiration for how it ended up taking off. So definitely can't take credit for that side of it. Just kind of spreading the word and getting it out there based upon that, making it a thing where a bunch of us were going to start doing. So basically, once we beat a team, I don't even remember what game it was. I mean, it was like January, like 2 years ago. The team that didn't get to play the postseason, not this past year, but the one because of COVID with Isaac and them. So it was that season. And so then it just kind of took off. So like several of us started working behind the scenes, just like loosely discussing things, ideas to, make memes to post and all that kind of stuff. And obviously that just kind of gradually did its thing. So like every time we would beat someone, just be like more and more and more and more and more. It's like everybody just started getting in on it. So kind of just spread like a wildfire. And then, I mean, this year it just hit like a damn nuclear explosion. I mean, it's hilarious to see how big that's gotten, going from a couple dozen people to, several dozens of people to over 100, over 200. And then now it's like, we're literally, as you see from last week, I mean, there was over 5,000 replies, within the night of beating Bama, which is just insane to me.
Well, and like 1,000 in the first 5 minutes, or 800 in the first 2 minutes. I mean, it's just insane. What about you?
It's really crazy. I mean, just to see.
What about your background? Just, I mean, how long you've been following Auburn? You grow up an Auburn fan, and then on Twitter, even before the memes, how long have you been in that space talking Auburn stuff with people? It's been a while, right?
Was there. That was my first year there. I went to a JUCO, played basketball at a JUCO, then went to Auburn. Didn't play basketball at Auburn, which turns out to be a fortunate thing for that time period. But I was down there from like 10 through the end of 12, and so it's obviously makes you fall in love with it. Just buying into that whole thing. So my parents aren't from here. I really didn't have many ties to Auburn prior to becoming a student, aside from just getting, sports and stuff, like getting into, like middle school, high school, that kind of thing, and went to a couple games when I was in high school. I wasn't being recruited, but one of our players on my high school team was. So the first Auburn game I ever went to was the Florida Auburn game in 2006. So obviously y'all know how crazy that one was.
Oh man.
So it was
the F word game, because that was nuts.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you can't not go to that game and just walk away like falling in love with everything about it. And so that's really where it started, as crazy as that sounds. Like, I really didn't grow up an Auburn fan. And so it's been pretty wild ride ever since then. And as far as Twitter goes, I mean, I had a personal Twitter account since like I was in school down there, but I mean, obviously it's kind of become a totally different thing in the past decade. So, I mean, there was always things like loosely in there, but then few years ago, I'm sure y'all are aware of how my other account suspended, like right as I was at about 10,000 followers. So now I'm on this like secondary account, having to build it back up. But
what happened?
So that was back in September. I got hit with a DCMA violation for posting, that video that I made where the team's like walking through the weight room and they're like dancing. And it was like that Future Drake song. Well, apparently Sony wasn't keen to that. So they filed a DCMA violation to Twitter. And due to being a repeat offender, my account is like indefinitely locked. And so I don't know if I'll ever get that one back. So it's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's such a weak way to get banned on there. I can't believe that. I've seen that video 1,000 times on Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it blows my mind. I can't make any sense of it. So, I mean, I reached out to them and they were like, well, the only way to, get your account back and get it in good standing is to have the person that filed the DCMA violation, which is some law firm in London on behalf of Sony. So I'm sure they'll take time out of their day to
Well,
isolate that one video.
I personally know some people that work for Sony. Maybe I'll see if I can get my connections going. They are
That would be
actually in that
incredible.
department too. So
That would be incredible. I mean, obviously, like the video gets deleted. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Like once it's there, so yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know what to do about that side of things, but yeah, we're trying to build it back up.
I think I'm showing my screen hopefully here to the you've
Yeah, I
inspired
can see
us, or at least the Auburn Twitter sphere, everyone involved, has inspired us to finally sign up for Twitter. Matt's been there. He has his own personal Twitter, but I've never had a Twitter before. And so in like the, after watching all the fun everyone's having, I have created last night the Jungle Auburn basketball Twitter at Auburn Jungle. That's the name I don't know how I don't know if I can change that or not. But anyways, who should I follow? Like, who are like the, I have zero followers, zero following. Who are like the main commanders in this army?
Oh man, like I said, I'm gonna botch any of these handles. So, oh man, I mean, I can obviously.
Should I go Pablo first? Should you be the first follower on here?
Sure, man, go for it.
Well, just tell me maybe it'll take for too long to put them all in, but
yeah, so I could definitely DM you a comprehensive list. But oh man, as far as like all this stuff goes, I mean, we've got Lonnie, we've got Alex, we got Kate, Albie MD, Drunk Albie, Auburn memes, Wilson. I mean, that man is like Kobe Bryant putting these things out. Wilson Family WDE. I do know his handle by heart. I mean, it's insane, and I mean, we've got several guys, that are just all over it. I mean, it blows my mind because I mean, hey, much more talented than I am. So, like Johnny Knox, he's one of them. Let's see, Hayden Fullwood maybe is his, or H Fullwood is maybe his handle. I mean, there's just so many, and I don't mean to offend anybody by not saying your name right now. I'm trying to rattle off a million names off the top of my head.
Director of Shenanigans for Auburn men's basketball. How'd you get that? We're talking about how you're the general or one of the commanders in the Twitter army. Director of Shenanigans. Who gave you that title?
Yeah, so that was just kind of a running joke with Marlene the last couple of weeks, her being the director of communications, and then us being an extension of what Auburn basketball branding is, but just on a ridiculously silly side of it.
By the way, you created lemonade out of lemons with going from Pablo Escobarner to Pablo Escobarner, the burner account. I think that's awesome. It sucks that happened, but I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, so this account I had for, I don't know, whatever it says, like maybe last year when I had got suspended one time. I don't remember what that was for. I can't remember why I created it. I mean, I had been suspended for something stupid along those same lines. So I had to have one just in case, just, it's like an itch you can't scratch, if you can't be on there when you're just so used to doing it all the time. So then, yeah, I mean, now it's looking like this is gonna be the one to roll for a while.
So you're here on the, you'll have to turn on YouTube, listeners, listen to the podcast for some of these memes, but this is you on the left. You're Pablo Escobarner with Marlene Neighbor. Says, you just lost to Auburn basketball director of communications and Marlene Neighbor.
Yeah, Auburn memes actually made that one. He was with me at the end of the game when we had met up with her right there. Like I said, had some friends that had some really good seats and they just happened to be right there. So I was able to get down there with them and brought him down there with me, and we linked up and yeah, I got that pick.
The meme community is very, stays on the internet for the most part, but it sounds like the Auburn meme community is in the real world too.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, there's people. It's almost like when you're playing Call of Duty for years and then you like finally meet somebody in person or something. It's just like a surreal experience to some extent. Yeah, like when I went to the Final Four, several of those guys I had never met before, and we ended up linking up while we were up there hanging out. I mean, it's just crazy to put faces with the handles. Obviously, I've got an anonymous count for the grand scheme, but loose association. I don't mind running into people, out and about.
You said you were at the Final Four. I was also at the Final Four. I wish I'd been on the
Nice.
Twitter sphere. Maybe I didn't have any friends that went with me or anything. I assumed, kind of like the other sport, that if I just bought a ticket and a plane ticket, that I would know people there. And I did seeing a person or two I knew, but I was disappointed in making friends. Part of the Auburn family, and made friends. But it would have been nice to make friends with the Twitter meme people.
Yeah, I had a very extremely fortunate circumstance that happened with all that. So, I mean, obviously you don't know that you're going, until the week prior, the weekend prior. And so I had a friend that we had been discussing it, like if they happened to just go on this improbable run, like we were going to do it, once they got to like Sweet 16, still seemed unlikely at the time. But, once they ran Carolina out of the gym, and then it was like, okay, well, Kentucky, like we know we can like face up with them. Like, let's just see what happens. And then, so yeah, we committed to doing it. And this is the extremely fortunate part. I had a friend that had just taken a job in Minneapolis like earlier that year. He lived downtown, like half a mile from the arena or the football stadium. And so like we flew up, stayed with him. Obviously that didn't cost anything. And it's just like all this like crazy, just meant to be stuff going on that like made it happen.
Thank God you had somebody to stay with. It was tough. That was part of the reason why some people, like, there was a decent amount of Auburn people there, but it was tough because you had to buy it a week before. The tickets were super expensive. Planes were expensive. I was flying in New York City, so it was a little cheaper for me, but I was like scrounging around Airbnb and staying with this like weird older lady with like 3 other people staying in individual rooms. It was tough. Minneapolis was not large enough for the Final Four. I can tell you that.
No, it really, yeah, it was crazy because I mean, they didn't have, I mean, it's a cool city, but yeah, they definitely didn't seem like they had a lot of accommodations in that realm of things. And getting
like
up there,
it felt almost like a Birmingham sized city, right? Like it didn't seem.
No, yeah, it really did. It really did. It was very comparable to that, in my opinion. And it was, it's so crazy because you already look at like Final Four tickets this year in New Orleans, and it's like they're like double, what those were in Minneapolis, and it's just so much more accessible. Obviously, the weather's a hell of a lot better. But man, it was a nightmare for us to get up there because, like I said, you don't know you're going until a few days out. So all the people that had just preemptively bought plane tickets and all that stuff, like me and my friend, we drove from Birmingham to Nashville, flew out of Nashville, flew into Milwaukee, drove from Milwaukee to Minneapolis, and then did the repeat on the way back. So it was crazy.
The things we have to do for Auburn.
Tell us
wild.
Tell us a little bit about. So I'm on Twitter. I've followed you and some other people for a while, but I'm kind of a hanging in the quiet spaces of Twitter, letting all of you who are way funnier and more clever do all the work and enjoying it. But what is the process? I mean, you can get as detailed or not detailed as you want, but what's the process of making these memes? And at this point, with the expertise you guys have, how long is it taking like you or others to put those together? And how many are sitting in the hopper, like waiting for like tonight Auburn plays Ole Miss or future games?
Oh man. Yeah. So obviously that varies person to person. But yeah, I mean, I generally would go ahead and like put some thought into a couple of them. And I mean, it's crazy because once you get familiarized with, because I mean, I use an app primarily, the PixArt app, and I've, spread the gospel of the PixArt app to everybody. And I mean,
PixArt, say that. How do we get that again?
PixArt? Yeah, it's PICSART.
PR. Sorry, say that again.
PixArt. PICSART.
PixSmart.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's on your phone, or is that on the thing?
Yeah,
I want, personally, we're showing on the screen right here. Me and Matt want to sign up for the Army. We want to be privates in this Twitter sphere Army. We have a picture here for the podcast of me and Matt saluting. We want to turn this in to a meme that we can drop on Ole Miss if we win tonight. Like, we want to get PixSmart. Is that you do it via your phone? Do you via the computer?
Yeah, so it's a mobile app. No, so not smart. It's just like pictures, the act like short version of pictures, pics, and then art.
Gotcha.
And so it's just a mobile. It's a mobile app. They have a paid version. They have a free version. I do not do the paid version. It just kind of gives you access to like some more fonts and filters and all that kind of stuff. But the meat and potatoes are in there on the free version, as far as just like editing and adding text and layering photos, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's it right there. And so, yeah, I mean, I can crank these things out literally in a matter of minutes now, once you get familiar with what you like and your filters and sliders and how to add pictures and layer photos, all that stuff. It's just, man, you can do it in a snap. And so some of these people are, on the computer and much, much more skilled and proficient in that way than I am. And man, I mean, it's like they've got a Tommy gun. And and it's this like meme Discord that we're in. I mean, there's about 200 people in it. As crazy as that sounds, got a Discord channel where people are just making them and sharing them literally nonstop. So some of them are team specific, for upcoming games. A lot of them are just generic to use. Just spreading the word, man.
You said there's a Discord channel. Can anyone join the Discord channel? Can I meme? Can we meme and can we join the Army?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll send it to you when we get finished.
Cool.
Gotcha. Is it a public thing? Like I'm hoping part of this podcast will be, I love memes. I'm pretty tech savvy. I'm youngish. I love what's going on. I know the meme history, whatever, but even I'm like a little like, how do I join? I'm hoping this podcast can help people that maybe are on the borderline of joining. Like,
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
person's
So
local.
it's a invite Discord. So I mean, anybody that would like to be in there, yeah, I mean, just shoot out. I mean, just ask somebody. I mean, we can get the link around for sure.
Yeah,
For
send
obvious
us a link,
reasons,
whatever we
trying
can.
to keep it somewhat restrictive, so you don't end up with a bunch of people in there that have no business being in there.
Yeah, send me a link, and if anybody asks, like, hit us up in the DMs on Instagram or on this new Twitter account, and we can always send the link around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another interesting thing I find, I love memes. I always have. Of course, everyone loves memes, but the deep fried, surreal, laser beam eyes kind of memes is a deep internet kind of meme. Maybe not as deep as it goes, but like 4chan level, deep Reddit level, like youngish Gen Z kind of thing, young millennials. It doesn't really fit our fan base necessarily. I was surprised to see, this kind of deeper internet meme become what Auburn does. How do you feel about like the formatting of that? Like, does it scare people away? Is it like help bring people embrace it? How did we end up with the deep fried, basically?
Yeah, so that that kind of just happened organically. I mean, like I said, the one that Harry Azarak had posted was just kind of deep fried in the traditional way. And so then several of us just started making them, just trying to look like, obviously if you just post a picture, it's just like very standard meme. So it's like it was a way to draw a lot more attention to it and for it to stand out. And obviously it's hilarious. Like you said, with the Reddit background and all that kind of stuff, like it definitely was more of that mold to like become a bigger thing as opposed to just like, just making pictures. I mean, we wanted it to like look silly when it's like such a contrast in the replies. And then there's like dozens of them, and it's just like hilarious to see. And now it's just, yeah, it's like any picture. It's just like, yep, throw it in the fryer.
It's very interesting to me, for the personality of the Auburn fan base that probably skews a little more older and conservative, to have such a young internet meme type community just going nuts right now. Have you felt like there's anybody like in your own personal life or even like an older Twitter user that like, wow, they're even doing it? They're like being introduced to a whole side of the internet they probably never thought they'd be introduced to.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just in the last couple of days, like since that news segment ran, because obviously that's reaching a different population of people, circle wise. It was like the local news here in Birmingham. I mean, I had probably double-digit number of people, and just by looking at profile pictures, I mean, I don't know if any of them were under 40. So it's just hilarious to see it like continuing to grow and kind of just be that bridge between that some of those like older fans that have absolutely no idea what is going on, but then just kind of want to be a part of it because it's part of Auburn now. It's crazy as that sounds.
That's one of the great things about, like, were you part of the there was kind of like a training in arms of people a few weeks ago to be like, hey, walk through, here's kind of how you do it. Were you a part of that? Is there plans for another one of those for people who haven't done it yet?
Yeah, I was a part of that. That was Auburn Meme's idea, to do it. He had reached out to me to kind of help co-host that thing and guide people along and give some instruction. Obviously, it's a lot to take in verbally. So, I've just got a copy and pasted, version of some basic instructions now that if somebody reaches out, I can just shoot it straight over to them. And, they're sending me stuff by the end of the day. And I mean, it's just awesome to see. I mean, it's pretty funny.
Send it on over. Cause that's what I was going to ask, that if you could send that over. I was hoping we could kind of do it like a cooking show. We could walk through, but I think it would take a little too much time.
I did that idea.
I was hoping we could do a cooking show. Like, here's how you start. Here you go. But send that over. And what do you suggest? You're an artist. We have this format. It's me and Matt saluting. What can we do with that?
Oh yeah. So you definitely laser eyes. Definitely got to get on there. And so that's like the little technical stuff, you kind of get a feel for, like you need to add the laser eyes afterwards, because then it starts like oversaturating that, looking silly, or go ahead and add the silly effects on the picture itself, and then add them.
Silly goes first. The silly art goes first, and then you deep.
Yeah, typically, right.
Okay. Right. It's like a chef giving us the
Exactly. So what's the handle? I've got it like copy and pasted. I can send it to you right now.
Our Twitter handle is Auburn Jungle, I believe. Yep, Auburn Jungle.
I think we got that.
I just gave it to us automatically, I think so.
Yeah, it doesn't pull up anything on my end when I search for it.
Well, it's brand new. I just followed you, so if you get notifications for followers.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to connect. We'll connect with you after. So tell us about. Hang on, I was going to go somewhere. Tell us about tell us about your favorite moments of seeing this thing explode, like in the last few weeks and months. And I just think the Murray State thing is hilarious. I don't know if that would be your answer or not, but the fact that we basically chased Murray State down for weeks and that they eventually caved. One of their players from Alabama caves, and now he's like an Auburn idol. And then the being in the TSU mentions after Murray State won that game. It's just hilarious. And if you're not familiar with that and you're listening, just do some research out there. It's pretty funny. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think
highlights.
Yeah, so I think the Bama game would obviously be the obvious answer, but yeah, it has to be the Murray State situation because I mean all that is just insanely hilarious to just see all of that happen. I mean, it's just so funny to we've been bugging them for weeks and still just staying in random. They're tweeting the score for halftime against some random OVC opponent, and it's just like, where's the final? It's just like just silly stuff like that. I mean, obviously that's annoying and a little overtly toxic in some ways, but they kind of leaned into it. And I had talked to a couple people behind the scenes on the Murray State end that were that thought it was funny. They just had no idea how to go about rectifying it so they were trying to figure that out. So that took a little bit of time. And I know some other people, were talking to them behind the scenes, but the Murray State Barstool guy, he had followed me and he was just obsessed with the fan base itself. He's like, this is I've never seen anything like this. He's like, I mean, this is something especially online, stratospheres, that people, want to be a part of. And he's like, now everybody's going to try to emulate this. And he's like, this is just insane to see. And then the fact that their star player, ends up being the one to fall on the sword. I mean, it's just just that they're aware of it, in these random tweets and post that just to know how much that would blow up. And then obviously I'm sure you saw, Murray State eventually ended up posting a deep fried version of the final score. And I mean, that's just gold.
I've seen some different on Reddit. I'm a big Reddit guy. I've seen some people in comment sections being like, it's amazing we're doing this. I think we had 4,000 plus on the Alabama one. They're very worried the first game that we lose that we're going to get it back. Do other fan bases even have the firepower to do something like that? I feel like there will be some deep Ole Miss fans or something that might do that, but I don't think we have set up an arsenal to unleash on people. I don't think there's more than 100 people in another fan base they're going to deep fry anything.
Yeah. So this is definitely part of the internet culture and being online, extremely online. You have to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of this. So naturally, probably not likely we win every single game from here on out. But shout out to the Peacock because that's how I'm going to act now. So it's just a crazy thing. But yeah, we're totally expecting it at some point, it just makes it more fun though, because I mean it's just a way for fan bases to engage the official. I mean, I've been in contact with the folks that run the Auburn basketball account, and they're already in contact with all these other accounts, and it's very funny, and it's a cool way for them to engage and get exposure. And I mean, there's aside from the silliness to it, as a relatively smart and rational human, I also see how that can become a thing from a PR marketing side of things as well, and that branding. So I mean, we don't want to necessarily be too offensive, just more of passionate, involved, kind of along for the ride. And then when it comes our time, it comes our time. The game's the game. So when they come back, but we do have a response to that. We've already got positive affirmation memes that we're just going to flood our own replies with. So it's just going to drown out what little firepower anybody has.
Right.
So
we have a battle strategy already set in place if we have a setback. This is some good information.
Yeah. So we're not too concerned about it. And unlike Bama fans, we're able to have fun and enjoy things. So we totally expect it. With the whole crane kick thing, that's original. And it's like, buddy, we're not copying you. We're totally mocking you. That's the entire point. And, so whenever it comes back, you gotta just take your medicine.
Yep. Well, Jackson, do you have any other meme questions? I was going to follow up.
Yeah. I just don't know how I love memes or whatever. One of my all-time favorite memes is Dat Boy. In fact, amongst my friends back when I used to live in Nashville, that was my nickname because I love the Dat Boy meme that much. I think you've probably jumped into memes around Auburn or whatever, but you're an internet person. What's your favorite meme outside of the Auburn Twitter sphere?
Oh man, that's really tough.
What comes to your mind when you hear the word meme as kind of like a deep internet culture?
Oh man. So yeah, I mean the deep fried thing obviously goes several years back. I don't remember exactly, but it's probably 15, 16. So that's just a funny internet culture thing. Man, like, God, there used to be so many, and I can't even like think off the top. Just the very simple ones where it'd just be a word with just letters overlaid. Like the guy looking the other direction while he's like holding his girlfriend's hand, or that Brian kid, that's like a school photo, and
Bad
it's
luck,
just like
Brian. You're going
bad
back
luck,
to,
Brian.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just so many. Man, off the top
It
of my
felt
head,
like
I'd have
there
to
was
look it through a list.
I felt like there was a lot more memes pre like pandemic and pre last presidency. Maybe I feel like everything's political, everything's about the virus now or whatever. But there used to be a time where people waited patiently on the internet for the next big meme so they could do something.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope we
Yeah,
can get back to there.
remember,
This is rejuvenated my like meme like historical like thinking.
Yeah, and just like the most interesting man memes, and the one with the dude in the hat, wearing the like fake Louis Vuitton or Gucci hat or whatever it is.
Scumbag,
Like in the doorway.
something.
Yeah.
Scumbag Steve.
Yeah, I can't even remember the dang names of these things, but yeah, it's just hilarious to see.
Well, let's wrap up with a little basketball talk. You mentioned you've been a fan for a while. Obviously, this basketball team, I think, has kind of captured the attention of this fan base, and really, you're starting to see across the country. So you've been able to go to some games. I know you've watched everyone just about. So what are your personal feelings and takes on this team, and just what has that experience been like for you so far as we're about halfway through the year?
So I obviously am really silly on the internet, and I say a lot of stupid things, but I mean, I really do just genuinely love basketball. I love, I'm behind the scenes. I'm much more nerd and analytics, and stuff that, I'm always looking at KenPom, refreshing that stuff, comparatively looking at other teams. And, Josh Dubb, I don't know if y'all familiar with him, but he puts a lot of that on the timeline. And he's a hell of a follow in that regard. So, I mean, it's so hard to like sometimes distance yourself from the potential of this team, and then as a fan, and then try to draw that line of objectivity, because it's like, you're trying to watch these other teams, and then like I can't help but just watch them, and I'm like, oh, like Jabari's eating that guy up, or like, yeah, Wendell's coming off the bench and putting 20 on this guy, like all these kind of things. It's like it changes how I'm even watching other games now. So I mean, it blows my mind, because I'm like, we might run into that team, and then, I didn't used to watch basketball like that in a lot of ways. So it's been a hell of a ride, and it's like really fun to just lean into, and you can make jokes which are eventually can come back to bite you, about being the best team, but it's like they legitimately have they're in the conversation for being the best team in the country. So it's like, if you just be silly enough, then you can't hurt me. I'm joking, whatever. but yeah, it's crazy, because I mean from what I've seen, I legitimately think they're the best team in the country.
It's crazy that I totally agree with everything you said. I think they have pieces and weaponry that we've never had. And I think if you've watched Auburn basketball for a long time, it's crazy to see the status and the peers, the peer group that we're in now. It really is. I think we're at the very minimum a part of that group of 5 or 10 teams that you really think legitimately has a shot. I remember coming away from the Final Four, the terrible loss, the double dribble, everything. But just the thing I went to bed that night thinking is just having to almost kick myself. Like, I actually think we would have won the national championship with this team that was like 7-7 in the league a month ago. And it was this crazy revelation that we were that good that year.
Yeah.
And this team's got the potential.
Yeah, and it's like, obviously, you win.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I kind of lagged for a second. Didn't mean to cut you off. It's like, you come off of a regular season championship, then you win the SEC championship tournament, the following year. And I mean, it's just nuts. Like, I mean, that's where we're at, so it's like the 2020 season sucked with the COVID thing, because obviously that's a tournament team. That team was definitely built for at least a Sweet 16 run. I mean, I don't know beyond that. They had some limitations offensively, but they were good enough defensively and athletically. I think they make the Sweet 16. So, I mean, you just think about how you're like able to stack that, and just that momentum, and just what everybody knows the program as. And it's crazy, because like, as you know, I'm extremely online. So I'm in several like group chats that I get added to. And one of them is like a relatively national like group chat with like several different people, from different fan bases. And it's like, Auburn is a good basketball program to them, and it's like, these are like Baylor fans and Oklahoma fans, A&M. It's a lot of Texas people primarily, but I mean, it's just like that's what they know is Auburn basketball. So it's just like funny to think like where that was at just in like 2015, man. It's nuts.
I love the term extremely online. That's sorry if I'm getting too like into like the internet part of this and not the Auburn part of it. I love that term. I guess my final thing I'd like to ask, we had 4,000, I think, comments on that Alabama Twitter post. It might be more.
It was over 5. Yeah.
Over 5. Yeah. So like this thing's growing every game. This team we're like catching, me and Matt feel like we've caught lightning in a bottle this podcast starting this year. I'm sure similar in the meme world, like how it's blown up along with the team succeeding. Let's say we do everything we could dream of in basketball. Where do the memes go? What is like the ultimate? You're going to bed at night, you're dreaming like where this meme war can go. What's like the ultimate for you?
Oh man.
Like, so could somebody like famous retweet it? Would you like 10,000 comments on the opposed? Like, what is like?
Yeah. So
dream,
I
like,
mean,
this
you
could
got
happen?
some objectivity. I mean, productivity markers, that you're looking for. So yeah, I mean, obviously you want to grow at each game. I don't know if tonight's game, I'm kind of being realistic. There's a lot of vitriol and everything with Bama associated. So I don't expect like Ole Miss to truly top what just happened with the Bama game, but it'll be a lot because I mean, that's just anybody that did it last week. I mean, they're probably going to be invested to do it, today. So hopefully that's the case. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it would be really cool. I mean, especially if we've literally got our director of communications on board, the actual Auburn basketball account on board, like all these other fan bases nationally, like the people that run Auburn basketball, like they have told me, like other professional leagues teams, like social managers have reached out to them, like, how did y'all make this happen? And he's just like, dude, our fans are just crazy. Like, I mean, he's like, I didn't really do that much. I did just kind of engage, and like, it's just, they're just that wild. And so everybody is now trying to build that. And so last night, I'm sure you saw the Magic, they had posted the Wagner brothers, and, it was like deep fried with the laser eyes, and Chuma's obviously on the team. And so it's just crazy that like now everybody's like leaning back into this thing that was an internet culture thing several years ago. And humbly as possible, like we 100% are driving that.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting if this takes off. Like maybe that's the dream, right? Or maybe it's not the dream. If this takes off in the whole sporting world, you see Orlando do that. If the whole of the NBA and college basketball all start doing it, it kind of gets away from you. And there's no like possession on the internet. You can't like own like a concept. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Exactly.
Everyone starts doing it. Auburn fans, including you and everybody else that's been very deep into it and helped start it, is going to be like, but we did it. Like, that's not your thing. Yeah. Like, it's always
it's definitely going to happen.
This weird like flattery. You're glad this is catched on, but it's like you need everyone to know it's our thing,
Right. Yeah. So that's why, and we're trying to put out the propaganda already, just to let everybody know. Like, I mean, we didn't start deep fried memes, obviously. We didn't start the replies to an opponent. Like, that was very much an NBA Twitter thing. That was the first place I had ever seen it, because the NBA Twitter community was pretty insane as well, as far as just like collections of people, and with just all the group chats and stuff that exist now, it's just a lot easier to organize that kind of stuff. And so that's where I had first seen it, but it was never a massive thing, like, not even hundreds of replies, that like we're seeing now. So it's like, we're 100% going to stake that in the ground that, yeah, this is us. So you gotta throw us some kind of credit to like making everybody want to emulate that.
It's like Chick-fil-A. You didn't create the chicken, but you did create the chicken sandwich.
Exactly. So there's so y'all be on the lookout. There is 100% have it verified. There are going to be NBA deep fried memes from around the country in the near future.
Wow.
We better get that recognition. We'll be out there shouting it from the hilltops that Pablo Escobarner and the Auburn Twitter sphere, we started the revolution.
And there will be a common link between all of the NBA guys.
Any other,
the teams are posting it.
Okay.
Any other shout out you want to give to anybody? I know, like you said, you're really communicating with everybody. We keep giving you a lot of props. We're so glad to have you on, but I know there's probably other people out there that, are worthy of talking about.
Yeah, no, I would definitely like to shout out Josh Wetzel. He's one of the main guys that runs, the social stuff for Auburn, and man, just totally leaning into everything as far as, just the online engagement, and just, not just seeing it as a professional social manager, but then just like leaning into it and wanting to be a part of it. Like, it's been incredible, just because it's like, it's just cool, as cheesy as it sounds, just to like see that like recognition and willingness to acknowledge that, that it's like the actual people running these things like want to be a part of it. Like the coaching staff, the players, like they're aware of this stuff and love it. And our own director of communications is like totally leaning into it and like making it a thing. It's awesome. And it's like, that's the thing that's the coolest about it is, the whole Auburn family thing, it gets overstated, overplayed, made fun of, whatever. But it's like, there's a lot to that. And so it's just like everybody wants to be a part of this thing. And as cheesy as it sounds, like, we're building this basketball culture and this fan base that we haven't had historically that's like happening organically. And obviously it comes with the success because that's with anything. And it's just like we're building that brand through like every avenue. And we're not going to leave any stone unturned to like have this a national pro like respected in those conversations with Kansas and UCLA, Duke and North Carolina that we broke, by the way. So it's just a lot of those kind of things, that's like, it's just cool to see how it's just fermented and now it's just become this like massive thing that everybody's in on the gag.
I'm so glad you said that. That's the payoff, right? Like as somebody who grew up going to Auburn basketball games and cheering for Auburn basketball when it was really rough for a long time, the value in all this stuff, as silly as it may seem to some people, is people are now scheduling around basketball. Like they are setting aside time to watch the games, to participate in the memes, to go to games, to travel on the road. And like, that's going to pay benefits for decades, as long as Bruce is here, and then who knows after that. But it's just really cool to see how much people care about it now. And they were caring before the winning started even more. It was already on a
exactly.
And it's just accelerating now.
Can I make one suggestion?
Yeah.
You might be the guy, Pablo, that can
go ahead.
Can push this. Sometimes during the games, they used to do this more. I think they do a little less. People hold up big signs of like pictures of players' faces. They hand them out before the games. Students come in. You can collect these like huge pictures of, it used to be Austin Wiley's face or Bryce Brown's face or whatever. Can we get the Auburn? Can we get the Auburn sports department to print out large head versions of laser beam deep fried players? I would love to see in the background after we hit a big three, laser-eyed Wendell go up from the crowd.
I'll 100. Yeah, that's a hell of an idea. I'll work on that.
All right, you heard it here first. We're getting the deep fried. It's coming from the internet, and it's about to take over in real life.
Cool, man. Thanks for joining us and kind of having fun with us. This was a fun episode for us. We've been watching from afar as kind of I pay attention to it, like I said, but as a non-participant. But Jackson's guy, we're ready to jump in. So we're ready for tonight.
Ready, sir. We're ready. We're ready to attack. We will follow you anywhere.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Onward.
All right, War Eagle.
War Eagle. Thanks, Pablo.
War Eagle, fellas. Enjoyed it, man.